to understand when we talk about impact. Today, if 120,000 people are at risk at Ashkelon, and the 18,000 or so in Sderot, and all the border communities, these grads can reach Ashdod, the second largest port city in Israel. These grads can hit 200,000 people, 250,000 people. This is the challenge today of how do you stop the short to mid-range rockets, A, from getting into the strip, getting smuggled in, and B, their improvement and their strengthening and their impact. These are the dilemmas facing Israel. We all know that at the moment, Israel's taken the courageous move towards calm and to give, if you like, peace another try, which has always been Israel's priority. But this is still a threat, even when there's calm. Even this week, there have been rocket attacks. So have a look round, you can see some of the shrapnel is also visible in these boxes just here. And any questions? Most of the rocket attacks, it's a good question, most of the attacks happen at peak times, what we call rush hour, around 7:30 in the morning, when parents are taking their children to school, and around 4 to 5 in the afternoon. Because again, it's a question of creating fear in the population. To put a statistic with that fear, 74% of children aged 9 to 12 in Sderot suffer from post-traumatic stress. That's double the national average. Because you do not know when or where a rocket will hit. No early warning system is 100% accurate or foolproof. And it's that fear that, if you like, the enemy is trying to instill within the population, and that's one of the hardest things for parents to tackle, because they too, in their workplace, don't necessarily have shelters. Okay, and it's very simple. I mean, you can put a timer essentially next to the rocket, or I've been here when you've been on those lookouts, you see a motorbike stop or a car stop, they set the timer or they light the match essentially, the rocket is fired.
I mean, the actual mechanism.
All made locally, yeah. So you see from the air where they're planning to launch the rockets, and you have a few minutes. And then you have the dilemma of, do you fire or do you not? Because again, the whole issue of human shields is one of the biggest challenges. They're not firing them from an open space, that's too visual. They're firing it from a backyard. They're firing it from a mosque. And again, we have video footage to back all of this. I mean, it's very important not to, if you like, exaggerate the threat, but at the same time to understand the threat. And that threat is real. And these are just the number of rockets that have been picked up in the last few months. And you can see here at any one time several hundred rockets.
How many rockets hit approximately in 1 month?
There's an average of around 1,000 or 2,000 a year. So
2,000 a year?
Yeah.
It's like 200 a month?
Yeah. We can give you all those statistics, our website, but also we can give you charts as well.
This is the Islamic Jihad Al-Quds 3 rocket. It has, as I said, a payload of I think about 6 kilograms of explosive in this one. It has a range of roughly 15 kilometers, but some of them have fallen even further than that. As Eli pointed out, we also have down here a Grad Iranian rocket. These are being smuggled in via Egypt, via the Sinai. And they're being made in Iran, and they have obviously a longer range, about 25 kilometers. They're the type of thing that Hezbollah used to use in the north, and now we're seeing them in the south. And as you might have heard Eli mention before, they can hit Ashkelon. Sometimes it's possible that they could hit Ashdod, although that hasn't happened yet. And obviously their range, their accuracy, their reliability is much greater. Some of in fact, a good percentage of the Palestinian rockets actually fall inside Gaza. I think about a month ago there was an incident where someone was killed by a rocket in Gaza. A Palestinian was killed by a rocket which had been obviously fired by Palestinian terrorists. Also, one of the increasing problems has been mortar shells. Again, mortar shells have a small amount of explosives but are packed with shrapnel. And you can see here that the fins of the mortars, some of them, in fact, up to 2007, almost all the mortars were locally manufactured by the Palestinians. We've recently seen in the past couple of months, before the ceasefire, Iranian mortars as well, which have, again, longer range, although the range is generally around about 5 kilometers, like maximum for those mortars, that means that covers a lot of the communities. You know, you have Kibbutz Nirim, Ein HaShlosha, all these small farms and communities where, you know, they're under constant mortar fire, and there have been a couple of deaths from mortars this year. I think an elderly lady, she was about 70, she was killed by a mortar. And there's been almost as many mortars as rockets. There's been about 1,000 mortars fired this year as well. Let's find a Hamas rocket. This one is a Hamas rocket. This is green and red. The Hamas rocket itself, the Hamas call their rockets Qassams. I think the other terrorist groups are a bit upset that no one else calls their rockets by their names, because Islamic Jihad would like to be called Al-Quds, but we kind of generally lump all the rockets together and call them Qassams. So you can see those. Here's another Hamas one. This is a Qassam 2 version. It has a smaller range, whereas this is the Qassam 3, which, as you see, is bigger. Also has a dual motor. Also has a longer range. That's pretty much it. You can see that, you know, they're called home. Often they're referred to as homemade, but you can see that within this part, the spiraling is machined. The fins are properly, you know, kind of welded. They're manufactured and they're lethal. If they're not accurate, but they're lethal because they can just land anywhere. And really, that's the reality. 2,200 rockets this year, 5,000 since the disengagement.